So I have some very positive news to share. Ace Attraction has hired its first ever employee, Steve. Steve is doing a fantastic job. He's helping out with the bookings. I just purchased an island, so he's kind of helping sort out some of the rubble and you know the front of the beach, so that when you all come visit, it's going to look fantastic. You're doing an excellent job, Steve. Keep it up. Okay, so welcome, Steve, to La Gang. Today we're talking about something very, very interesting. We're talking about my opinion on masculinity and femininity in the 21st century. And the reason that I stress on in the 21st century is never before in thousands and thousands of years of evolutionary biology and masculinity and femininity and systemic ways that people behave has there been such a shift in how men behave and how women behave. And I think it's positive. The reason is first, second, and third wave feminism done amazing, amazing things to give women equal rights to men, which now makes it a legal requirement in most progressive countries for women to be paid equally, to not be discriminated against, etc., etc. Now, I know that there's still inequality from time to time, and I know in some countries we're very far from equality. So I'm talking about like the UK, America, countries like this. Okay, now, because women are now able to have equal rights to men, women are starting to develop more masculine traits and men are starting to develop more feminine traits. So let's bring this back from a historical point of view, and we'll progressively work our way to the current day. Hundreds and thousands of years ago, men were provided. Men would go out to war, they would fight, they would they would hunt, they would bring back resources for the mother and their kids. Okay, and women were part of society, so they would be the ones who nurtured the children. They would be the one who communicated in the tribe or in the pack. Okay, hence why women are a lot more emotionally in tune. Okay, because they were the ones communicating. Men lacked communication because they were out providing, they were out hunting, they were out gathering. Additionally, because of this, you'll find today men tend to lack basic social and emotional skills that women have. Women are far more empathetic, but then where men have been able to get a slight edge which benefits them in modern day career paths is men were very progressive, forward moving, right, focused, driven, okay, because they had that aim. If they weren't providing, their family would have failed. Okay, so men are far better at honing in and focusing on a specific skill set and driving forward with it. Now, but they tend, and this is stereotypically, this is generally speaking, okay, there are obviously exceptions to this, especially today, given the fluidity we have. I'm kind of speaking hundreds and thousands of years ago, okay? Men were able to progress things, they were able to have that single focus, and women were far more empathetic, social, and nurturing, okay? Now, let's fast forward that. First, second, and third wave feminism, which is kind of in our grandparents and our great-grandparents' lifetime, so we're living in a very interesting time, has allowed women to now have equal rights to men, which is amazing, right? Women can now go out and they can get the same careers, the same pay, the same legal requirements, share the, you know, it doesn't have to be them who take time off work to look after the kid. Men should have, you know, equal kind of ground on that and also be helping out. But what's now happening is because the divorce rates have also gone up in the world, what you are now seeing happening is some boys are growing up with single mothers, as I did, okay, and some girls are growing up without and some girls are growing up with a very strong father figure in the house, very present, okay, because there's more fluidity between men staying at home these days, and the divorce rates have gone up, which mean that there's a lot more single mothers. And what this means is that a lot of boys are growing up with a single mother and developing feminine traits, and a lot of girls have a strong father figure in the house, and they tend to adopt a lot more masculine traits, whereas previously, historically, women didn't have their father figure around as much as they do today. So there's a lot of fluidity. Okay, now what this is doing is, because women can now go out and get jobs and, you know, do the same kind of things that men could do, women are finding themselves at the top of companies having to compete with men. Okay, now unfortunately for women, and I'm just stating it as it is, don't be a snowflake and be offended by this, because I'm the furthest person from sexist or racist you could find. I'm just stating systemically how things are. Women are reaching the pinnacles of careers and finding themselves competing with a lot of men. And to compete with to compete with men who have masculine traits, you do need to adopt masculine traits. So you're finding women adopting many masculine traits in order to be successful. Simultaneously, studies have been done, okay, and there are a lot of masculine traits that highly correlate with being successful, okay. And I think that's temporary. I think that's only because we've just got into the stage where women have equal rights to men. So of course, thousands of years of conditioning of what success is, who the most popular, successful, well-known person in the tribe is, all of that for thousands of years has been masculine traits. Because we're just at the cusp of this now becoming a feminine thing, you'll find women who are succeeding in business tend to have a lot of masculine traits. Okay, I think this is going to change, but studies have been done and there is a high correlation between one of the most prominent masculine traits, which is being disagreeable, correlating with a higher salary. People who are more disagreeable tend to have higher salaries because they make better managers, they can put people in their place, they have the ability to ask for a pay rise or stand their ground when they feel like something is not going the way they want it to in a career perspective. Disagreeableness is the peak of disagreeableness is found a lot more in men than it is in women, but women are adopting these traits. Okay, now what is my opinion on women becoming more masculine and men becoming more feminine? Okay, I think it's amazing because again, we're living in one of the most interesting times for this to happen. However, hundreds and thousands of years of men being biologically, psychologically conditioned to finding feminine women attractive and sexually appealing. Likewise, women having thousands and hundreds and thousands of years of finding masculine men more sexually appealing and attractive can't easily be undone, okay? Which means it's a slightly dangerous time for feminine men and masculine women, okay? And the reason is because you can appreciate feminine qualities in men, such as being empathetic, being good at listening, and being in touch with who they are and their emotions, right? However, that's not to say if someone who was extremely masculine came along, you wouldn't just kind of just prefer that instinctively. This is why a lot of girls, they'll say, I don't know what it is about him, like he's a dick, but I just really like him. Now, I'm not saying natural masculinity is being a dick or being rude, but it certainly edges more towards that branch of it, because men lack empathy by nature. Masculinity by nature is a lack of empathy, okay? And a lack of empathy would cause someone to come across like a dick because they're not in touch with how you are feeling about certain things they are doing, okay? Whereas women are the opposite. So for feminine men, I think today they have qualities women would appreciate, but it's also slightly negative because women can find a really masculine man and just prefer him. And for masculine women, for careers, I think it's amazing for them, okay? And I hope that more feminine traits are adopted in big companies, and it doesn't have to be women having to behave in a masculine way for them to succeed in careers, okay? I think feminine traits should be adopted in a lot of big companies, and Jordan Peterson has spoken about this too, one of the best clinical psychologists in the world, backed up by a lot of studies, okay? There is no evidence to suggest that feminine traits equate to more success and higher salary, but would be amazing if there was, okay? However, there is no evidence to suggest that. Right now, we only see a correlation with masculine traits and higher salary. I think it would be amazing if feminine traits did also equate to higher salary, but we just have no evidence to suggest that right now. Therefore, it's merely speculation when we speak on that. Okay, and as for masculine women, for their career, as I said, it's amazing. However, for sexual appeal, I think men just prefer feminine women. It's just how it is. I think we naturally are just more attracted to that aura, that vibe. Okay, when a masculine woman meets a man, one of three things can happen. Either the masculine woman will override the masculinity of the man, meaning the man will actually become feminine in the relationship and the woman will become masculine. And you can look around you, I guarantee you, you know couples where the man is the feminine and the woman is the masculine one in the relationship, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just how it is sometimes. When the woman is more masculine, she ends up taking that role in the relationship. The second thing that can happen is the man will actually be quite masculine himself and he will turn the woman feminine, okay? Because you can have masculine women, but the only reason they are masculine in their nature around certain men is because the men are feminine. If the men were to be more masculine, they wouldn't have the requirement to put on this masculine front, they would be more feminine, okay? So masculine women can succumb to someone who is very masculine as a man. It will just naturally happen. They will find themselves becoming more feminine around men who are very masculine. The third thing that can happen when a masculine woman meets a man is the man just wouldn't like her for her masculine traits because it attacks his masculinity, it attacks his masculine frame. And therefore what you'd find the man does is he will just go find someone feminine who validates his ego and his sense of man a little bit more. If she is happy in a long-term relationship with someone who is feminine, amazing for them. From the woman's side of things, does the sexual interest stay there long-term? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. From everything I've studied, everything I've seen, it doesn't, okay? And you'll tend to find women tend to cheat on feminine men. When you have a very masculine man who's in his element and in his frame, women don't want to cheat on men like this because they chase men like this. They desire secretly men like this. I don't want to get into too much detail on this topic because I could talk about it for hours, but women will tend to, there's two guys they'll want in their life. There's the husband material and then there's the lover material. You'll tend to find the husband material guy will have slightly feminine traits. He'll be a good listener, he'll be empathetic, he'll be good at raising the family. However, this specific man may lack masculine traits that actually sexually turn women on, okay? Hence why women will sometimes have a husband and then have a lover, because the lover will tend to be someone who's extremely masculine, who ticks all their sexual desires, and the man who is the husband and the provider as such would be someone who ticks the logical requirements of someone who would make a good husband, but not necessarily the sexual and emotional requirements of what triggers her and what gets her sexually turned on, right? Okay, so this is just kind of like me ranting about my thoughts on feminine men and masculine women, and I hope you guys learned something from it, okay?